Hello YouTube, this is a Singer, it's a 500 series, but I think it's the same 600, maybe 7, 800, maybe even the 400. Could be the same idea to remove the bottom cover. I'm showing in a moment how to remove it and to put it back in place, but my suggestion is when you go purchase one of these, maybe on Craigslist or something like that, I suggest you do this inspection in two steps. First, run the machine. Just plug it in, run it at speed. Don't need to put any thread in there, just run it. And then remove the cover and look inside the plastic gears. The idea about running it first is maybe the machine has not been run, had not been used for 20-30 years. If you run it first and the plastic gears break at that moment, you don't want to purchase it. So there is a chance that test actually will fail and you know the gears are just too damaged, too old, and you don't touch that machine. But you need to run it first and then inspect the gears, not the other way around. Just try to look inside a little bit. This is the bottom cover and it has only one securing, it's like a washer, and there is like a piece of cloth. And the way it goes is that first you have a small kind of hook here, which on this model hooks on this bolt or screw there, and you need just to place that kind of hook and then just place it over this stud here. What's happening is that you will find it sits like this. Don't forget this material, because that's what keeps the washer from turning and getting loose. And you will find it like this. Now it depends. If someone before you, mine actually, in theory, I think you are supposed to unscrew this by hand, but mine was to stop, my finger would slide on it, so I had to use pliers. And I had to grab it at the tip here, and that's very small grabbing space, so just pay attention you don't hurt your fingers, and try to really grab it like this and twist it. It just unscrews counterclockwise normally, and then you just rotate it. It has a dent here, a notch, but I don't understand what's that meaning for. You really just need to unscrew it like this. You don't have to tighten it with force, just tighten it by hand. It's just securing the cover, so don't exaggerate when you tighten down. And then there is a tricky part when you remove it. Again, don't lose this. When you remove it, because it's hooked in there, you'll see these threads here will prevent it from coming off, so you have to wiggle it. Try to show you. Just force a little bit, then maybe push, and then force at the other side, and you just try to wiggle it. See if you are lucky, depends. You can force a little bit, it doesn't matter, but don't forget that you need to unhook it from there, so you cannot lift it here. You really need to kind of rotate it and just move it to the left. So again, that's how it hooks in there. It's just like that. But there's a weird material, actually. It's kind of a paper here, and I think it's meant to catch all oils, whatever lubricants is in there. However, because this one is 50 years old, it smells badly. Even if it looks clean, and it's difficult to remove because it's metal pressed on it. But I suggest you maybe get a cutter if you don't want your machine to smell, and just remove this thing. It doesn't really matter. I probably keep the oils as well. Let's just look at the gears now, because I think that's the important part. Let me just have a sit somehow. Okay, so this is a model from around 1974. And I did a search on forums, 500 up to, actually after 500 series, you will have this. I call this plastic, but you may say something like it's a polymer. It's could be resin, could be anything else. It seems there have been several materials. So from 500 up, but also some people say on forums that 400 series, some of them also have some plastic gears. And what happens is these gears, like perhaps you have already seen on the internet, because they get old, they get brittle, they will start chipping, falling, or even crumbling out together. It's like a piece that has a plastic, let's call it plastic, it's easier, plastic part and metal part, and it's an entire piece. When you replace it, you replace both of them. It's just one piece. You have to unscrew kind of Torx, you need a Torx small, not Torx, but Allen hex wrench. Usually there's two securing screws on each of them. And you can buy them. I'll put a link for you in the comment section directly for Singer. Do not buy from eBay, AliExpress, stuff like that. Cheapo is not properly designed. It doesn't have the correct dimension, and you are going to have a lot of trouble. You are going to throw them away. So buy directly from Singer. I believe they sell each for $6 US. So because they give you free shipping over a $20 order. If you purchase all four of them, it's going to cost you $25 US. It's more in Canada because of shipping. However, replacing these things, it's definitely almost specialist job, because you need to unscrew these hex screws, and these are oftentimes very stuck, and also your wrenches or hex wrenches are not strong enough. The metal is not strong enough. It's going to round it inside. It's a big job. Also, you need to disconnect some parts to remove this. I believe you need to remove these rods from there. And finally, you need to redo the timing at the end, which is absolutely critical. So you need to know how to adjust the needle position with this gear. So it's a big job. Perhaps you want to mark them, scratch them, but again, is definitely, and I'm not that beginner with mechanical things, is definitely not a job for everybody. However, what you want to do is, that was the idea of the video, you want to check the gears after running the machine. When you go to purchase, again, that cover comes out really fast, so you don't really bother the seller that much. One of the things you want to see is look for the dents here, the teeth, and look for any chipping. That perhaps is not that worst, but look for cracks. You may see cracks. Mind this one. Let's not cover the light. So this one had one crack at some point, and that crack actually was caused because the grease, some grease was stuck inside one of the gears here, and the grease was so hardened by the time that when the machine ran it, the two gears just crushed one into each other with force, because the grease was filling the empty space here, and there, that caused the crack. So you may find cracks. Also, you want to look at the gear itself, see if it's chipped. You may want to look from the sides. Yeah, look for cracks from the sides, cracks that will run like this. Look for bits, missing bits, and it could be much worse. It could be several cracks and stuff like that. See, this particular one has that crack there that was actually caused at a single place because of actually the old grease was mineral, and after many years it becomes like a hardened resin. So you definitely need to get the flashlight, like I'm going to do for you now, and look inside each of the gears and clean them. If you get purchasing this, you really need to clean them. And you can see these are my tools. I did use this this dental floss that has a tip here. I did cut it to make it shorter and to make it stiffer, but this is what I use. Don't use metal. I also have a brush, a toothbrush. You may want to use a magnifying glass, isopropyl alcohol for cleaning. That's about it. And yeah, so this is how you inspect the gears. Take a good look, spin the machine by hand. You see how I put it on the side, on the back side. This is the front of the machine. I put it on the back side. Just spin it by hand and look around the gears, all around. See for cracks, see for damage to the teeth, and for overall condition. So on my machine there are 4 gears, this one, 2, and this one, 2, and that's for the gears. Now you also want to check closely the belts. This one has this driving belt that's actually driving the entire mechanism. You want to look closely for cracks. Again, a magnifying glass is going to help you quite a bit. Look for cracks and just spin it around. So again, rotate it by hand. This was one of the belts. You can also look inside, but you will see enough of it here. But there's a second belt which is buried right there actually. which is easier accessible by the back panel. I'm not sure if I can point to you to see the camera. Perhaps you can see it, it's right there. And if you look, you also have the knob inside, and you see where the belt is running on that knob. If you look, you see the belt right there. Let's see if the camera will focus that place, perhaps not. But if you look on that plastic knob, you can see actually the rubber material that had degraded from the belt. And that gives you a good idea of how much this sewing machine has been used, or the one that you are going to look for. That gives you an idea. I can tell you that this one does not appear to have been used that much. But keep in mind, those belts, they have a lifespan, and you may want to replace them, but access is not easy. The rear one, that one that I'm showing right now, it's easy because you just open the rear cover. But this one here, I don't think it's that easy to replace. It's buried deep inside. I think perhaps you need to remove this piece, but also have access at the top. The belt goes there and has kind of tensioner, idler. Again, it's quite a job, I believe. I haven't done myself. And then if everything checks fine, you just want to lubricate all the parts. If you want, perhaps if I don't forget, I put a PDF of the instructions for this specific model. Check in the comment section, along with the link for replacing these parts, the gears, and perhaps also the belts from Singer itself. Also, I do recommend to just wash inside with some alcohol, because there is old oil that smells, and that will just remove that smell from the machine a little bit more, so it's more pleasant to use. All right, and thanks for watching, and check the comment section.